Not yet.
Not yet. Not understanding what is happening now. It is not allowing me to share the screen. Doshi sir.
Just copy this link and paste it in a web browser like Mozilla or Chrome.
Chrome में ही डाला है.
Directly
Copy
you
paste.
cannot click on that link.
Share
Yeah.
आ ही
Just
नहीं.
copy this link to the Chrome.
Yeah, I
नहीं वो
did
आएगा
that.
मैडम, लेकिन आप क्या करो उस नहीं इससे बाहर आ जाओ आप इस लिंक से, और उनको क्या करो, आपको सिर्फ उसको लिंक को जो भेजा है ना आपको उसको कॉपी करो और क्रोम में डाल दो उसको, तो वो आपको वहां पर अलाउ करेगा. आप डायरेक्टली लिंक पे करेंगे तो नहीं होगा वो. हाँ, आप इससे बाहर आ जाओ, एग्जिट हो जाओ इससे लिंक से. हाँ, कॉपी पेस्ट करके इसमें करो क्रोम में.
ओके. Okay.
Yes madam, please share the screen now.
Not allowing again. Doshi sir, it is not allowing me to share the screen.
Okay, wait madam. What?
Should I send it to you?
Yes, no problem madam.
Send me the link in the mail, please.
Just wait. Just copy this link.
Send me the link. It is not getting copied from my phone.
Okay. Just wait. I will be sending the link to you.
कुठला आहे का? तिकडे बसला आहे का?
Yes. Can you hear?
Yes, madam. Please share the screen now.
Sharing, but it is not allowing me to share it.
Madam, please continue the lecture then. No problem.
Okay. Okay. Okay, friends, good afternoon. Today we are going to study about the lifespan psychology, that is MPC002, Block 1 and Block 2, Unit 1 and Unit 2. What is the lifespan psychology? The lifespan psychology is a scientific study which aims to explain growth of human throughout lifespan. That means right from conception till the old age. When the sperm from the male side comes and unites with the ovum of the female, the conception begins, the life begins. Right from that point to the old age, The human goes through various stages like prenatal stage. Prenatal stage means what, friends? Pre means before, natal means birth. So before birth period, that is 9 months pregnancy. I am talking only about the normal life. We are not talking about the premature babies or post-mature babies. That is prenatal stage, that is 9 months pregnancy period. Then comes neonatal stage, that is during birth stage, which is again very important stage. And then postnatal stage comes. Postnatal means after the birth. After birth, there are many stages like infancy stage, babyhood stage, childhood stage, adolescent stage, then adulthood period, and then old age. We are going to study all these stages. Lifespan psychology is a period which helps in describing and explaining the development. Every stage is described and every stage is explained in various aspects regarding the development which takes place in that period. The perspective of the lifespan psychology is interdisciplinary. In this, psychology is involved, sociology is involved, education is involved, and health center or healthcare is also involved. So let us try to understand one by one. That is how the concept of development takes place. It is a progressive series of development takes place, which occurs as a result of maturation and experience. What is maturation, friend? Whatever we have inherited from our parents that unfolds the inherited traits. That is maturation. That means there is generally a sequence of behavior. For example, a child first creep, then sits, then walk, then runs. There is a typical progress in the child's behavior, which is systematic, which is in order due to the maturation. As he matures, his development will take place. His muscles will develop and the activity of that age will occur. Second is experience. What is experience? Experience means exercise, efforts. The child has to be done, given the training. The training will be environmental aspect. Maturation comes due to the hereditary. Experience comes due to environment. If this training is not provided, suppose the child's leg muscles are matured enough to walk, and if the parents don't hold his hand and make him learn how to walk, not before that, not after that, don't delay it, don't do it early. At the right time, if you help and give the training how to sit, how to walk, then the child will learn to walk. If we fail to give the training to the child, then the child's development will get retarded. When time will come to do the writing, then give him writing. Swimming time comes, give him swimming training. This is necessary. These are qualitative changes. Development is very complex. It keeps happening. It is a continuous process right from the birth till the death. Both physical development is also taking place and psychological development is also taking place. Let us try to understand now what are the common features in each stage of development as it follows. First thing we have to understand that rate of development varies from individual to individual. Every individual is different. Every human being is different. Why? Because his hereditary is different. His environment in which he is born and he is brought up, that is different. Child rearing practices, that is different. It depends from culture, differs from culture to culture, society to society. Each phase has characteristics. Every phase, right from the conception till the old age, Every phase and every stage has certain characteristics which we are going to study step by step. And every stage also has the hazards, obstacles which prohibits the development. That is also we are going to study. Development generally affects by external factors. There are many external factors which keep affecting every phase of our life. Let us try to understand what is the difference between development and the growth. Generally, we refer these two words regularly and very commonly. What is development? Development is a qualitative aspect. And what is growth? Growth is a quantitative aspect. Qualitative aspect we cannot measure it. Development we can't measure it. Growth we can measure. Development is defined as progression towards the maturity. It is a continuous process, like for example, skills like cognitive skills, social abilities, or speaking, how child speaks, how he learns. These are all developmental aspect of the child. What is growth? Growth is defined as increase in size. It is quantitative, we can measure it. Like for example, height of the child, weight of the child, size of the child, structure of the child, shape of the child. This is called growth. Let us go to understand what are the various methods of studying this development. How we are going to study the children and how we are going to record the observation in the studies. So there are various methods given in psychology to study the development of the child. The first method is known as cross-cultural method. What is cross-cultural method? We can take the two groups, maybe for example north side group and south side group of the children, and then we try to study their behavior, their abilities, and we try to compare two different groups. What is the development of the north side children? What is the development of the south side children? And when we compare it, because culture is different and child rearing practices are different, therefore these two groups will differ in each other. So we try to compare what are the differences. Such type of studies are known as cross-cultural studies. It will help us to understand that different region, different culture, different community, different values, different languages, how does this affect on the child's development? That is known as cross-cultural study. Second type of a study is known as longitudinal study. What is longitudinal study? We take the child, for example, we are going to take the child of 4 years and we are going to study what are the factors affecting on his behavior and abilities. And after some years, the same child, again he studied at the age of 10, for example. 4 years we have already studied. Again now 8 years we will study. 12 years we can study. So same child is studied at a different interval time and we are recording his behavior, his development, then such type of studies are known as longitudinal studies. Third type of a study is known as case study. Generally, we do this case study with the mental patient in the clinic. We take every individual is different, every mental patient is also different. We have to understand why he has become mentally retarded, maybe due to hereditary, some some fault is there, or maybe some environmental reasons are there that he has become mental patient. So whatever his reasons are there that we have to study, we have to diagnose that person, we have to decide the treatment of that person. That treatment, that diagnosis is related only to that case and we cannot apply the same diagnosis and same treatment to another patient. Then such type of studies are known as case study. You take only one case, complete that, then go to another case. That is known as case study. What is the sequential method? That is the fourth method to study the development. Sequential method combines the first method, that is cross-cultural method, and second method, that is longitudinal method. Both are studied together. You take the different type of children and compare them, and the same children's group you study at a different level of time, different interval of the time. That is known as sequential method. That make you understand how people differ from each other, and at the same time same child is differ as the age increases. So that is a specific study. And last method of study is known as time lag method. What is the time lag method, friends? It is the effect of historical events on the behavior. Historical events keep changing, and it has a mark on the children's behavior, even adults' behavior. We study that how the behavior changes, how the things are changing, how the history has brought the change in the human behavior. That is known as time lag method. When we are studying this lifespan development, there are obstacles in studying the lifespan development. What are those obstacles which we face when studying the development? The first point is representative sample of infant. Generally, if you go to find it out the sample of children, then you may find it. For example, school children, they are available as a sample. Even when I did my PhD research, when I went to the school, the high school children, they were available easily in the school. But suppose we want to find it out the infants. Now, infants born at the same time, it is difficult to find. So we are not getting the representative sample of the same age in a different hospital. So it becomes an obstacle to study that infants. Second is establishing the rapport with the subject. Even if we go to find it out, the sample, and if we get the sample, we try to establish the rapport means relationship with the subject. When we are trying to do this, many a time it happens that the child do not give all the information to us. Maybe because he is not aware that what type of information we wanted, or maybe we sometimes lack in our skills to extract the information from the subject. So sometimes personal details, even if we go to the adult people, some adult people they do not give us the correct and accurate and every detail of their development. So that can become an obstacle in studying the lifespan psychology. Third obstacle what we have is appropriate methodology. Now we have a different age groups to study, and it becomes difficult sometimes to get the only one child for that study. So what methodology is required for that particular age we have not yet developed. So it is open field for you all after MA psychology. You can do this methodology aspect. Point number four is accuracy of data. That is another obstacle we have. Some people or some adult person or some adolescent children or sometimes even old people, they don't give us the correct information. They may give us the what happened? Hello, Doshi sir, any problem?
No problem, madam. Please continue.
So sometimes they give us the false information. False information will make our collection of data wrong, and that can become an obstacle in studying the lifespan psychology. And last and very important aspect is ethical aspect. Ethical aspect means every subject which we are going to study, whether from the pregnant woman to the old age, whatever we are going to study, we have to take their consent that we are going to make a study, and we are going to record all the responses, and we are going to make the research on that, and we are going to make the conclusions on that. So they have to give their consent to do the research or to do the study on them. So concept of the parents is also required. If the child is under the guardian, then we require their permission also. When we go to collect some sensitive information about the children in the school, we need the school principal's permission. Rather than that, mostly parents' permission is also required. We need to have the consent of adults also. This is ethical aspect we have to follow when we are studying the lifespan development. Now let us start actually. As I told you, the whole lifespan psychology is having prenatal stage, neonatal stage, and postnatal stage. Prenatal means before birth period. So we will go in detail about the before birth period. And that period is known as prenatal period. In prenatal period, we have to focus on three aspects. Before birth, when the woman is pregnant, there are three aspects which are important here. That is genetics, which we will go in detail in few seconds. Then environmental influence, which keeps affecting. And third, there are some hazards. Before the child born, there are some hazards, and fetus may be under pressure or it may be harmful to the fetus. So we are going to study all these three aspects: genetics, environmental influence, and hazard. Let us go to the genetics first. Genetics is first point here is a conception. Conception, as I told you, that there are when the sperm from the male side comes and unites with the ovum of the female side, the conception takes place. Once the conception takes place, the cell starts multiplying and it turns into the zygote. Zygote is a stage from fertilization to 2 weeks of period, where the child is just the combination of cells. Then the next development after 2 weeks begins, that is called embryo. Embryo is a period from 2 weeks to 2 lunar months, where again the child is developing. And last stage in the pregnancy is fetus, that is 2 lunar months to the birth. Now there are at this moment in the conception itself, the hereditary is decided. As the fertilization takes place, the heredity is already received by the child. There are 23 pairs of chromosomes are there, out of which the 22 chromosomes are known as autosomes and one chromosome which determines the sex of the baby. Second aspect in this is sex of the child. Chromosome of the genes. 23 pairs of the chromosomes are there. I missed one point. These chromosomes are of two types. One is dominant chromosomes or genes and recessive genes. Each chromosome has genes, and these genes are of two types: dominant gene and recessive gene. Both chromosomes are received 23 pairs. So every chromosome contains the gene. And if the gene is dominant, then it shows the effect in the baby. Maybe then baby will look like a father or baby will look like a mother. That is dominant gene. They show the effect and certain traits which is inherited from the parents into their behavior. Rest of the gene, the other gene, is a recessive gene. It is not dominant, but it is recessive. The child carries with him to the next generation. Sometimes it happens that we see that recessive gene becomes dominant gene in the third generation. And that's why the baby do not look like mother, father, but it looks like a grandfather or grandmother, maternal or paternal. because that recessive gene which has been carried by the child has become dominant gene and it started showing the effect. The last chromosome, which is known as sex of the child chromosome, that chromosome determines the whether the child will be born as a baby boy or baby girl. Female, they have only XX chromosomes with them. Male, they have XY chromosome with them. If X chromosome from the male side comes and unites with the X chromosome of the female, then the combination becomes XX chromosome, that is turns into the baby girl. And if suppose the Y chromosome comes from male side and unites with the X chromosome which is already existing with the female and it becomes XY chromosome, then the baby boy is born. That is determined by the 23rd chromosome which determines the sex of the baby. Now here you do not have any control in deciding the sex of the baby. No changes can be done in the sex of the baby. Whatever the baby's sex is decided in the mother's womb, it will have the lifelong influence on the behavior and the pattern of the behavior of that child. Individual pattern of the behavior is also affected by the sex of the child. And cultural pressure and expectations, what will happen after the birth, is also decided at this point because whether it is a baby boy, the expectations, societal norms will be totally different throughout his life. And if it is a baby girl, expectations and norms will be totally different throughout his life, throughout her life. That means everything is decided here and nobody can change this. The third point is twins. Sometimes it happens that twins are born. They are of a two types. One identical twins and second is fraternal twins. What is friends identical twins? Only one sperm comes and unites with the one ovum of the female and it fertilizes. Fortunately, it splits into two. Same sperm, same ovum, but splits into two cells, and two cells develops differently. And it takes the multiplication, and two babies are formed in the mother's womb. Such type of babies, which are born only by one sperm and one ovum, they are known as identical twins. They born at the same time, and these children they look alike. Their mental abilities are also same when they are born. Even the intelligence what they have received in hereditary it is also same. Environment will affect differently. That is different. If suppose one boy is reared in Pune city and one boy is reared in the village, then intelligence will be different. But in hereditary they have received everything same. So that's why they are known as identical twins. Second type of a twins is known as fraternal twins. Here two different sperms they come at the same time and unite with two different ovums, and two different individuals are developing. Now, these are fraternal twins. They can be both the daughters, maybe they can be males, boys, or one may be girl, one may be boy, or one may be boy, one may be girl. Possibilities, anything. They are just like brother sister. They are don't look alike. Their mental abilities are also not the same. They are just brother sister but born at the same time. Such type of a children is known as fraternal twins. Now let us come to the second aspect, that is how the environment influences on child when he is in the mother's womb. What are the environmental influences can become harmful to the child's development? The first important aspect is mother's disease. Sometimes it happens that during the pregnancy, if proper care is not taken by the family members or even by the mother herself, then she may suffer from the diseases, maybe jaundice, maybe some other diseases which may affect and may be harmful to the fetus who is developing in the mother's womb. Second is drug and chemicals. Maybe some of the mothers they are used to alcoholism or they are used to drug. They keep taking this, continue their bad habits even after the pregnancy. That can be harmful to the child. Third, radiation. Radiation may be for the therapeutic radiation or may damage the fetus development. The fourth is abortion. Abortion can be due to two reasons. One, natural abortion due to the fall of mother or maybe some harmful things has happened to mother. That's why abortion takes place. Or there may be the reason that medically doctor may terminate the baby. That is, maybe the child is not developed properly, development doesn't take place, growth is not proper according to the age of the baby, and then they advise that the such baby should not be born. So medically terminated abortion is also takes place. That is again harmful for the fetus. In both the cases, whether it is a natural abortion or whether it is a medically terminated abortion, in both the cases, the fetus is damaged. Next is age of the mother. It matters in the development of the baby. Age of the mother should not be below 18 years of age and should not be above 35 years of age. Before 18 years of age, the organs are not developed properly to have a pregnancy, and after about 35 years of age, the development has grown a lot and maybe may not be able to conceive properly, or maybe it is harmful to the fetus. Next point is nutrition of mother. We have to pay attention that what mother is eating. If she is eating healthy food, proper diet is given. Nowadays in all the hospitals they have the dietitian, nutrition. You can consult them and take a proper diet. Previously it was not there, so nutrition of the mother may be harmful to the fetus if she is not in a proper nutrition, proper intake of the food. And last point here is stress experienced by mother. Now, stress can be personal and it can be environmental also. Personal is also environmental, and environmental in the sense that family members, what family members are thinking about this lady, what they are talking to her. If the atmosphere or the climate of the family is not happy, not pleasurable, then mother may experience the stress. Maybe some family member they taunt or they have their own expectation from the lady, pregnant lady, and that can put the mother into the stress, and that can be the one of the reason, environmental reason to harm the fetus. Friends, let us come to the next point in genetics only, but let us understand what are the hazards. Hazards means obstacles. Obstacles in the development of the fetus in the pregnancy. There are two types of hazards. One, physical hazard, second is psychological hazard. We'll study first one, that is physical hazard. As I told you, mother's nutrition or mother's malnutrition is one of the reasons that it can be a hazard for the development of the fetus. As I told you, second aspect, maternal age. It should not be below 18, it should not be above 35. That can be also another aspect which will be a physical hazard to the fetus. Sometimes multiple birth takes place. More than two children also, triplet also they born, or sometimes more than that also. So they are very small children, and which is very difficult to give them birth also, and also difficult to bring them up. So that is also another reason if the multiple birth is taking place. Drinking and smoking of the mother is also a physical hazard to the baby. Now let us come to the psychological hazards. There are many psychological hazards which can be harmful to the fetus. First one is traditional belief. Some traditional beliefs which we have can be the hazard. For example, night-born babies are always cranky babies. There is no scientific support to such type of a thing, but it is a psychological hazard. My child should not born in the night, then he will not sleep throughout the night, and then he will keep me awake. Such type of a thinking can be a psychological hazard to the fetus. Second is maternal stress, as I told you, the mother is taking any type of a stress, family member stress, expectation, then that can be another hazard to the fetus. And third, unfavorable attitude of a significant people. Now, who are the significant people? Mother itself, father, grandparents in the family, or there are some other important elements in the family who are present. Maybe in joint family we are there, then some important people are there. If they have unfavorable attitude towards the pregnant woman, that can be a hazard. Like for example, not wanting a child. Mother herself doesn't want a child because she thinks that career is more important than having a pregnancy. Then if she is having the unfavorable attitude towards the incoming child, then it can be a harmful to the fetus. Second, sometimes mothers they want the child, but they don't want at this time where they are climbing on the important stages in the career development. So not wanting at this time is also unfavorable attitude towards the child. Most of the people they have preference for the male child. That is also another unfavorable attitude towards the fetus. Suppose if it is female child and they want the male child, then that attitude, unfavorable attitude may affect on the mother also and it will affect on the fetus also. Sometimes people they have a dream child that my child will be like this, my child will be like that. Newly born babies are not like that. You should understand that newly born babies are totally different. Slowly, they develop and they become very um, cute looking babies. But when they born, they are not like that. So if you don't have a dream baby, that is another unfavorable attitude you will have towards the baby. Sometimes you know that there are multiple births, but you don't want this multiple births. So you may go for the decision of abortion. So then it becomes a harmful aspect to the fetus. Some women they want to have abortion. They don't want the child. That's why they want to go for abortion. And sometimes it is illegitimate child, and such child they don't want to come into the world. Then it becomes a harmful to the fetus. These are different types of hazards which we see in the human development life. Now, this was our prenatal stage. That is, the child when he is in the mother's womb for 9 months during the pregnancy period. Now, let us come to the neonatal child. Neo means during birth. Neonatal child is also known as infancy period. Infancy period is the period from the birth to 2 weeks when generally mother and the baby is in the hospital. Nowadays they leave the baby and mother if a normal delivery is there in 3 days. But previously it was not like that. It was in 1 week they used to keep the baby and mother in the hospital. And second is babyhood period. That is after postnatal period. Babyhood period is the first stage in the postnatal period that ranges from 2 weeks to 2 years. Let us try to understand what are the characteristics of infancy development. First, infancy period is the shortest period in the human development life in lifespan psychology. That is from birth to 2 weeks. Secondly, infant has to make radical changes after birth. As soon as the child is born, he has to make the adjustment, which are very, very important. The baby is born immediately. They put the baby, and when they cut the umbilical cord, then they put the baby on the scale to weigh the weight. That weight is recorded because it is important to be recorded. When the baby is separated from the mother, he has to make immediate three adjustments. First adjustment is temperature. Mother's womb temperature is always constant, and he has experienced this temperature throughout the 9 months. Now, the outside environmental temperature, hospital temperature, or the baby is born at home, that temperature is different. It may be higher than the mother's womb or maybe lower than mother's womb. If it is higher than mother's womb temperature, then he may feel hot, or if it is below than that, he may get uh, feel cold. So he has to make immediately the adjustment to the temperature. Secondly, baby is breathing inside the mother's womb. Through umbilical cord, he gets the oxygen. But now, when the umbilical cord is cut, he has to make his own adjustment of the breathing. He has to inhale the air and exhale the air. If short duration of time is passed, and the first sign of it is that he started breathing is crying. Crying means he has inhaled the breath and he has brought the breath out. This has to take place. If little shortage of oxygen is there during that period of adjustment, then it may have the scar on his life throughout his life. That means there are chances if the loss of oxygen is there that mentality or mental aspect of the baby may get affected. The baby may turn the blue and that will be a cause of his death also if the oxygen is not taken properly. Third adjustment which he has to make is immediate adjustment, that is suckling and swallowing. This is a spontaneous response of the baby that he sucks milk. Nobody has taught him, but it is a spontaneous response. To feed his stomach, he has to suck the milk, sucking and swallowing, swallow the milk. That immediately he has to do all these activities. And the last one, which he has to make a radical change, that is known as elimination. Elimination of um, urine and elimination of stool. This is very important during birth. While doing and making this adjustment in week time of period, that time the development comes to the stop and plateau in development occurs. The child do not develop, rather he loses his weight during this making adjustment. But once his weight falls down and again he starts regaining the weight, that means he has successfully made adjustment to the environment or to the radical changes. Infancy period is the period of future predictions also. Some of the children they show that what type of a future he will have. Because while making this adjustment, if anything goes wrong, then we can expect what will be the future of the baby. Or if he is done successfully, what will be the future of the baby. There are two types of hazards which we have in the period of infancy, that is physical hazard and second is psychological hazard. Physical hazard is complication during the time of birth. There may be at the time of the delivery, it may not be a normal delivery. Sometimes the head of the baby is very big and do not pass through the pelvic bone, and then we have to go for the forceps delivery. While using the forceps, if any injury is there to the head of the baby or to the brain of the baby, that will have the problem and it will be a damage to the baby. Secondly, Injury due to the loss of oxygen. Brain damage can be possible because of loss of oxygen. Multiple births are there, that is also a physical hazard. Post maturity is there, that is another hazard to the baby. Premature babies are born babies which are born in 7 months or babies which are born in 8 months, then they are called premature babies. These babies have to be kept in the cubicles, into the small cubicle, where glass cubicles, where they have to be given the milk through the syringe, etc. There are many complications because the child is not very strong to suck the milk and may not be able to suck. So we have to give the milk to the tube. So these are the physical hazards baby have during the infancy period. What are the psychological hazards? Again, traditional beliefs. We have different beliefs about the babies, and that's why that becomes a psychological hazard to the child. Then children born with the difficulty will have difficult lifespan. That is also one of the traditional beliefs we have. Second is helplessness. Infant faces in the outside world. The child is very helpless. Newly born baby cannot do anything. We have to handle and understand. Only a spontaneous response, what he can give it to his mother, is crying. And through crying, he is communicating to the mother, whether he is hungry, whether he is wet, whether he is restless, whether he wants to play, or whatever it may be. So he is totally helpless. He cannot do anything. It is a psychological hazard to the baby. He cannot do anything. He cannot roll. He cannot reach to the aspect. He cannot call his mother. He cannot do. He cannot tell anything to the mother. But through crying, he is trying to communicate to the mother. Mother understand whether the baby is hungry or whether the baby is wet, and she has to accordingly give response to the baby. Third, attitude of the parent. If the parent's expectations is towards the male, generally male preference world is there, then how they will behave if the female baby is born. So their attitude will matter, and it will become a psychological hazard to the baby. Excessive crying babies, some of the babies are, yes, they cry a lot, and then attitude of the parent differs to the baby. Then complications during the birth, that is another attitude of the parent, that this baby while coming out has troubled me, given me a lot of pain and this and that. Such type of a thinking should be discarded. But some parents they carry with them, then it becomes a psychological hazard. Twins are born, then that is another aspect. Mother specifically, her attitude towards the child will matter a lot. Now this is our infancy and babyhood period is over. Let us come to the childhood period in lifespan. In childhood period in lifespan, which is from the 2 years to 12 years. In between, we have birth to 2 years babyhood period, where the totally dependent child in infancy has become independent in many aspects. In babyhood period, he has already, by the 2 years of the child, baby has already learned to talk. He has already learned to communicate. He has already learned to walk. He has already learned to play. So babyhood period, he has given him lot of independence, lot of freedom, lot of abilities, and training. Parents are very important. They are the gods for them in the world. So they have to take care of the baby. They have to teach them properly. They have to tell them what is accepted and what is not accepted in the world, how they have to behave. All training, toilet training is also given according to Sigmund Freud. This training during the babyhood period is going to affect in the adulthood period. That when we will study about the Sigmund Freud's theory of psychoanalysis, that time I will explain you. So babyhood period is also a very important period which occurs after infancy period, and there we have to, any fears are developed because child has not inherited the fears, child has not inherited jealousy, child has not inherited anger. It is all learned. So parents, what they are doing, in front of the baby, that is going to affect on them. Fears are brought by the parents, fears are brought by the family members. We try to shout at the baby and baby is scared. The fear comes in him. Or we show the fear of a dog or show the fear of a lion. Then the fear will learn. Fear is not inherited. It is learned aspect. Jealousy is also learned aspect. When the baby comes out and then we talk some, I will not say wrong words, we say that, then the child will become jealous. So we have to be very careful in the babyhood period also, that how we are treating the baby, how we are behaving with the baby, how we are dealing with the baby. Baby wants to say, because now he has learned to talk, so he wants to say so many things. Listen to the baby. Baby comes and tells you, holds your hand and then wants to tell you something. Pay attention to all this because he wants to communicate with you. May not be having words to communicate, but he wants to say, maybe he wants to tell you something what is happening in his life or in her life. So try to understand and pay attention and every small details of the child's behavior. You have to keep under the supervision on the babies that what they are doing. Then comes after babyhood period comes the childhood period. This is another very, very important period in the child's life. According to Sigmund Freud, when we do psychoanalysis at adult level, when they have any problem, then through hypnotism also in which area we go in the lifespan? Childhood period. Here what is happening that will matter, and if it is that is not that problem that has happened in the child's life is not solved by the parents or solved by the teachers, then it is going to reflect into the adulthood, and in adulthood he will show some psychological problem. So that psychological problem, if we have to tackle according to psychoanalysis by the Sigmund Freud, then we have to go to the childhood period. That's why childhood period in the lifespan is very important period, which ranges from 2 years to 12 years. Now, this childhood period is divided into two periods, that is early childhood period and late childhood period. Early childhood period is from 2 years to 6 years, and late childhood period is from 6 years to 12 years. Here we have the development of the child, that is physical, psychological, cognitive, and linguistic development. Now, physical development is that here are now in childhood period it slows down. Physical development as compared to the infancy. Infancy and babyhood period they develop a lot. Here they slow down. Here the body generally builds, baby's body builds. This is a physical development. Psychological development, socially and emotional development takes place. The baby is going to the school now. So there he is learning. Socialization also is taking place. That's why cognitive development, he starts thinking, he starts learning, he starts questioning. Sometimes he asks you embarrassing questioning also. Try to satisfy him, not in detail, but as per his age, but don't lie the baby. Many parents they lie the baby, but when they will grow older, and now lot of social media is open to them and they are aware about many things, and if you lie the image of the parent gets spoiled. So better tell them in a different way, explain them in a different way, and help them to understand the world. Linguistic, that is about the language. Different generally the child learns the language what his mother speaks very faster than any other language. But different languages are learned in the school. Therefore, we have to take care of that. Now, during this time, some parents they feel that children are having behavioral problems, like from 2 years to 12 years of age. When the child is going through this stage, the parents they feel that more than physical problem, they have a psychological problem. That is what they feel it. Like child has become stubborn, do not listen to me, they are disobedient. Especially mothers also feel that child is not staying at home. Their friends are more important to them than family. This is going to happen because child is exploring the world. So you have to pay attention to it and find it out that if any severe behavioral problems are there, then take the help of the counselors. This is the toy age also. At the age of 2 years, the children are playing with their toys. They are happy. That is their world. So give them a lot of toys. Give them puzzles because intelligence is increasing a lot during this period, specifically babyhood period and childhood period. This is a period, remember that this is a period of socialization. The child is developing through the social aspects. He is going to the school, meeting teachers, meeting different children. They are playing together. They are learning various subjects. So they are getting socialized during this period. What are the hazards during the childhood period? There are two types of hazards: physical hazard and psychological hazard. What are the physical hazards during the childhood period? Illness. If the baby is having the problem during pregnancy and infancy period while making a radical adjustment, if anything is gone wrong, and during babyhood period malnutrition is there, this that, then this child will always fall ill. That is a physical hazard to the child's development. Remember, if the child is falling sick every now and then, he cannot go to school. Children will treat him in a different way, and the teacher will also treat him in a different way. They should not, but it happens. So it becomes a physical hazard, and physical hazard will lead to the psychological hazard. Second is physical hazard, accidents. They will fall from the steps. They are climbing, they are running, they are moving here and there. Certain harmful objects are there in their hand. They may have the cut. This is common. Physical hazards are there. Obesity, another aspect. That is, some of the children are too fat, and that can be a physical hazard. What are the psychological hazard? Speech hazard. It can be a psychological hazard if they are not speaking properly, clear words are not coming out, or they are stammering, or they are having the what do you call, not clear and proper talk. That training has to be given by the parents. Social society also is another aspect, social aspect, that is communication skills. The child is communicating with the people, communicating with the teacher, communicating with the friends, communicating with the um, opposite sex members. Now this is also again a problematic if parents do not give them training or the teachers are not giving proper training. Unhealthy social attitude the child may develop. It depends again the family background, parents training, etc. Play hazard is there. If the child is always sick, for example, then he may not be able to play, and that can be a hazard, psychological hazard, that the friends are not accepting him in the sports, not taking him in the what do you call, in the game, etc. Or maybe he is having him, or he may feel isolated because children who are playing, who are healthy, they go out, they play. But the child who is not healthy always falls sick, having accident, having broken his leg, this, that, then he feels very much isolated. Some children they also feel rejected by the teachers because they do not participate in many aspects, or sometimes they feel rejected because of friends are not accepting him. These are the stages what we have learned in the today's session. I think I have completed my session. Thank you. Stay home and be safe and stay blessed. Now let me see your comment. If you have any problem, let me see that where I am. Yes, it is the comment section. Yes. Okay. What is this? And how do we ensure our attendance? That is a technical problem. Uh, Thank you, ma'am. Okay. Any problems you all are having? Thank you, ma'am. Okay. Your attendance gets automatically recorded into the session. Oh, thank you. Devashri, thank you. Does the stress and hazard of Pregnancy stage shows up in childhood stage. Yes, it will. It will definitely show. It will definitely show. Okay. Nature of the child is it inherited? Traits are inherited. What type of a behavior he will show will depend on the how parents are giving him treatment. Okay, that is good. What happened to this? Okay, please what? Please, ma'am, include some examples while explaining. I have included, I think. Very interesting. Okay, thank you. Why this is not working or what? Did you listen to till the end of my session? Video is paused here, so I'm not understanding where I get the reference book for studies. I will give you in the second session. No, they don't include anger and fear. Inherited, in inheritance, you don't get all these things. It is learned. Does excessive crying baby has long-term psychological impact? No, 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 no. How to calm down? That is in the mother's hand. You can hear me? Hello? Can you hear me? Any mark voice distribution of the syllabus? Yes, of course it is there. Newborn baby recognizes the mother. Yes, he recognizes the heartbeats. He knows her voice. Please, ma'am, communicate that to the non-speaker. What is that? Your video is paused, but we could listen to your lecture. Okay, thank you, Gauri. Thank you. Why the video is paused, I don't know. Joshi sir, are you there? Very chronological explanation for lifespan development. Please explain. Sequential method is a combination of cross-cultural method and the longitudinal method, where the children are from different places. We can study together and compare them at the same time. Same child is at various age interval. We can study. That is sequential method. If the mother has anxiety, will have an effect on child. Yes, it will. She has to be very positive. Anxiety will affect. Okay. Anger and fear is learned. Yes, it is learned. Making that can be reason. What if a child is confused in most of his tasks or making decisions? That can be a reason. That you have to it's still like that only. Way of explaining is excellent, ma'am. Okay, thank you. Thank you, ma'am. Okay, it is very useful. Okay, Swati. Where can we get the mark-wise distribution of the syllabus? It should be on the website. Can you talk about the inherited nature as most attitudes are learned? What? Ma'am, can you talk about inherited nature as most attitudes are learned? Question is not clear. How can we define nature then? As sometimes we say the child is more like mother. That whatever inherited traits are there, that will determine his abilities, his intelligence, his way of some of the behavior. But most of once he comes out, then it is learned most of the things. What is this? It is not inherited, but because of the traits, they might show the preferences. Please read this. Can you give summary of each session? I'm already giving you summary of your whole syllabus. I cannot teach you everything from your syllabus. Too short time for this. Yes, ma'am. You're audible, ma'am. Our likes and dislikes of eating and inherit. It is not inherited. What is inherited is traits are inherited. And if traits are showing some effect, then maybe. What will be the psychological reasons if the baby is speaking? Psychological reasons for baby speech, we have to teach the child to speak. We have to provide the words to him, make him learn the language. At what age the child understands the emotions? He doesn't understand the emotion, but if you instill the emotions in him, then if you give an opportunity to express the emotion, because emotions are learned, then he will learn. In many cases, we can see babies grow up with different abilities, not learned from the parents. What many cases we see babies grow up with, where it is not, different abilities, not learned from the parents. Maybe due to because the recessive gene has become dominant gene, they may be learned from the grandparents. I mean to say, not speaking means what? How does having an older sibling affect newborn child? Yes, it will affect. It will affect that how you treat the older one and the newborn baby. Yes, it will affect. Ma'am, as you explained that changes in the environment when the child is born and is out of the mother's womb and then being newborn is separated from the mother, does that create trauma for the child? To certain extent, yes, it does. Exam schedule, this is the technical problem, ask RC. How is RH compatibility affecting pregnancy? This is medical things, not covered in psychological aspect. You have to go into the medical terms. Thank you, very well explained and very well understood. That's good. That was my aim to make you understand. I think already it is 11:12, so we will meet in the second session, I think. Entire topic, yes, as far as you have understood it. Why this video is paused? How to make it start? Don't know. Joshi sir, where did you go? How does environment affect baby born through artificial method like test tube babies? That is a different aspect, Jayashree. Totally different aspect. We are talking here about the normal children who are born through the proper pregnancy. Okay, thank you, thank you. Yes, we can hear. Very good, beta. Thank you for your feedbacks. I think my session is over. Let us meet at 12 o'clock for the unit 3 and 4 of 002. I will continue my lecture 12 to 1. Refresh your window. It will restore. How to refresh, Baba? I'm very doesn't get refreshed. No. Wonderful session. Okay, ma'am, can we see you on screen right now? I'm already there, but can you see my video is paused? I don't know why, how, but can you see me talking to you all? It is at 12, not 11. Yeah, it is at 12 o'clock. Yes, 12 o'clock, second session will begin. You are very well, Vexman. Thank you, Manasa. Everybody who is appreciating my lecture, thank you so much. I'm feeling so happy here. Lot of effort. F5 button on your keyboard for refresh. Okay. F5. Where is F5? F and 5. Both together. Still nothing happening. No theories are there in this. Okay. Males can become dominant anytime during the lifespan? No. But for the next generation, recessive gene can become a dominant gene. Nice lecture. Okay, thank you. If you minimize Zoom video, will not work. Where is the Zoom video? If you minimize Zoom, video will not work. Acha, okay, is it that? I don't know that. Let me see now F5. Nothing is happening. Let's see here. Refresh. No, nothing. Acha, yeah, I've minimized this. That's why. Maybe. Okay. Ma'am, recessive genes can become a dominant gene anytime during the lifespan? No. Does it happen due to the psychological growth? No. Once you have received, whether dominant gene will show their effect, recessive gene will not become active. It will become active when you are carrying that gene. It will become active maybe in the next generation, or may not be. Thank you so much, ma'am, for wonderful session. You are very sweet. Thank you, thank you, ma'am. I told you, Vidhi, I told you that it does not become the dominant gene. Recessive gene will be carried. Dominant gene will show the effect. Wonderful session. Okay. Thank you so much. Okay. Where is Doshi sir is ma'am? Can you go right click on your mouse and select refresh button? I have to do. I did that, but it is not coming. Beta. Refresh का button यही नहीं आ रहा option. If I minimize this, then that option comes refresh का. I did it, but it is nothing is happening. Anyway, in next session we'll see. Open Zoom video will work. What is now Zoom video? Don't know better. Thank you, mom. Okay, we can hear you. Okay, that is at least there. Good. Amit, I don't know how to open the Zoom video. I'm very weak in doing using these technologies. Okay. I think we should end this session and we will meet at 12 o'clock for the next session, second session, there where I am going to teach you the unit number 3 and 4, that is adolescent, adulthood, and old age. Little longer time I will take because 3 stages I am going to cover. So it will take time. So let us have a break. Please share the PPT on WhatsApp group. Okay. Okay, inshallah. Okay. Okay. So I'll take a leave. I think Joshi sir is also not here to hear me. So I will end the session and we will meet at 12 o'clock. Okay. Thank you for your appreciation. See you all then at 12 o'clock. Okay. Thank you.